And all I felt was this like a giant, tremendous slap on my ears and about 8 seconds of like a pink-red static. That thing snaps, I'm toast. It was over. And the hypothermia was horrendous. You're itching all over the place. I had a shoulder separation, if you've ever gone through one of those.
Did you ever think it was too much?
Of course it was too much. Yes, that was the whole point of it. It was the mystery of suffering, which is the sacrificial lamb, you know. If it was easy, it isn't worth much. So, and believe me, I did a lot of research on it. And according to all the research, it was way worse than that, anything I showed you.
Did you know that the filming of The Passion of the Christ was marked by events so shocking that many consider them miracles, real injuries, strange phenomena, and experiences no one could explain left everyone on set asking themselves, were these just coincidences or were they signs from above?
I shot me out of my body. I saw the back side, not here, and I remember looking at him and all of a sudden I saw his hand blow up. But the horn, I heard the horn go off, and it didn't hurt my ears. But it was like when I first met God, you know, when he asked me to become an actor, I felt this great peace and love.
Jim Caviezel, the actor who portrayed Jesus, truly felt the pain he was acting out. He was accidentally struck. He fell under the weight of an actual wooden cross, and he was even hit by lightning. Meanwhile, the technical crew reported inexplicable glitches in their equipment and even mysterious presences that seemed to watch them from the shadows. But here's the most astonishing part. Instead of stopping the production, all of these obstacles seemed to strengthen the faith of those involved. It was as if the Spirit of Jesus had gone beyond the screen to become a living experience on set. Were these just coincidences or a manifestation of something much bigger? Stay with us and discover how God can be present even in our toughest moments.
That was a crazy movie because it was a great movie. It seemed like there was resistance to that movie. Like Hollywood resistance to that movie. Like people didn't like that you were making it, it seemed like.
Yeah, there was a lot of opposition to it. My contention is, you know, when I was making it, it was like, you're making this film and the idea was that we're all responsible for this, that his sacrifice was for all mankind.
From the very beginning, Mel Gibson was sure that The Passion of the Christ would not be a standard film. His vision was crystal clear. He wanted to show the final hours of Jesus with such realistic intensity that viewers would feel transported straight to first-century Jerusalem. To make this happen, he made bold and risky decisions, like filming the entire movie in Aramaic, Latin, and Hebrew, the languages spoken at that time. This didn't just add depth to the story. It also aimed for a more direct and emotional bond with the story they were bringing to life. But that wasn't all. The sets, designed with incredible attention to detail, were built in Matera, Italy, a place that felt frozen in time. Every stone, every corner, and every detail was carefully crafted to faithfully show the world in which Jesus lived and died. The level of accuracy was so high that each scene felt like a window to the past. However, this project didn't just face technical challenges, it also took on spiritual ones. Gibson knew from the start that the road wouldn't be easy. Major studios rejected his idea, calling it too risky and not very marketable. But he refused to give up and decided to personally finance the $30 million the production cost. This act of faith revealed just how strongly he believed in the message he wanted to share. It was a true act of sacrifice and commitment, mirroring in some way the heart of the movie itself, sacrificing for a cause greater than oneself.
I remember yelling out, "You obviously don't care. Here we are breaking our backs for you." And at that point, this cross is swaying from 4 feet from one direction to the next, and I'm on a 1,000-foot cliff. If that thing snaps, I'm toast. It was over. And Mel didn't know what to do. It was just, we were in the middle of a shot, and all of a sudden the wind coming up this canyon. It's like going to the Grand Canyon and sticking a cross at the edge of it. It's all cemented in, and you know, you think you're safe, but then when those winds go, it's going back and teetering back and forth. And the hypothermia was horrendous. You're itching all over the place. I had a shoulder separation, if you've ever gone through one of those.
One of the most striking and much discussed aspects of filming The Passion of the Christ was the accidents and unexplained phenomena that occurred, many of which directly involved Jim Caviezel, the actor playing Jesus. Among these incidents was the shocking shoulder dislocation he suffered while shooting the scene where Jesus carries the cross. In order to achieve maximum realism, Mel Gibson insisted on using a real cross with a substantial weight. During one take, Caviezel stumbled and fell under the cross, causing a painful shoulder dislocation. What's most surprising about this event is that the pain and anguish shown on screen are not just a performance, but the real physical agony the actor was feeling. Many saw this as a symbolic moment in which, even if only for an instant, Caviezel carried a fraction of the suffering Jesus endured on the road to Golgotha.
And I thought, well, we got it. And then the next day, we watched the film, and it looked great and whatnot. And Mel says, we can't use it. And I said, what do you mean we can't use it? You know, literally yelling at him. What do you mean we can't use it? He says, if they're focused on that cross or not focused on my Jesus, they're going to be looking at that thing going back and forth. He said, forget it. No, we're doing it again. Well, that went for another 5 weeks, just the crucifixion scenes alone.
5 weeks of this?
Just for the crucifixion scenes.
Another equally disturbing event happened during the brutal scourging scene. Due to a technical error, one of the whips used in the filming struck Caviezel's back directly. Getting past the protective covering meant to keep him safe. The blow was so forceful that he was left with a permanent scar. Everyone on set was shaken, but Caviezel went on filming despite the pain and the physical wounds. For many, this incident deeply resonated with the words of Isaiah 53 verse 5, "By his wounds we are healed." Members of the cast and crew began to ask themselves whether these mishaps were random accidents or if they were signs of something bigger, a real, tangible reminder of what Jesus had done for humanity.
It's been rumored, I don't know how true this is, that as you were filming this, you were hit with lightning?
Yes.
That's true.
I was lit up like a Christmas tree. It was a shot I was doing on the Sermon on the Mount, and I knew it was going to hit me about 4 seconds before it happened. I said, I'm going to get hit. And when it happened, I saw the extras grab the ground in front of me. What they saw was fire coming out the right and left side of my head and an illumination around the whole body. And Mel, during the shot, they said, do you have it on camera? Actually, what happened was he said action, and as the camera's panning, coming to me, right around here is where this light just generated. When he came, by the time he got to me, I hear Mel screaming out, you know, what the heck happened to his hair? I mean, I look like I went to see Don King's hairstylist. 5 minutes after I got hit, Jan Michelini, one of the assistants, walks over and says, are you okay? Then he got hit, and I said the difference was that they saw the bolt come down and hit Jan. They didn't see that when I was standing there. And all I felt was this like a giant, tremendous slap on my ears and about 8 seconds of like a pink-red static.
Yet the most inexplicable event of all took place during an outdoor shoot when Jim Caviezel was struck by lightning in the middle of filming. Although he wasn't seriously harmed, the force of the lightning bolt was so intense that it left everyone stunned. What are the odds of that happening during the filming of a movie about the final moments of Jesus? The incident made the entire team reflect. Some labeled it an unbelievable coincidence, while others saw it as a divine signal, a reminder of the deep spiritual significance of the mission they had undertaken. Almost everyone on set felt it. It seemed like there was something larger than them behind every single step of the project. Instead of discouraging the crew, these events strengthened their commitment to the film. Many started interpreting them as signs that reinforced the project's spiritual intent, as if every obstacle fell perfectly in line with the message of sacrifice and redemption the movie sought to convey. The filming of The Passion of the Christ was not only marked by the physical and emotional trials the cast faced, but also by a series of mysterious events that directly affected the technical crew. One of the most puzzling phenomena was the repeated and inexplicable equipment failures. Lights and cameras that had been thoroughly checked began failing randomly, especially during the film's most emotional and meaningful scenes. Despite the technical team's best efforts, nobody could find a logical explanation for what was happening. It was almost as though something beyond human control was stepping in. Confronted with these difficulties, something unusual happened on set. Some technicians and actors, frustrated by the constant malfunctions, resorted to spontaneous prayer in crucial moments. And remarkably, on multiple occasions after they prayed, the problems resolved almost immediately, without the technical crew needing to do any additional work. This left many reflecting on the power of faith in the midst of uncertainty. For some, these occurrences symbolize that the movie's spiritual message wasn't just being portrayed on screen, but was also being lived out on set. Another phenomenon that left a deep mark on the technical crew was the eerie feeling of inexplicable presences around the set. Several crew members said they felt they weren't alone while working, especially during the night shoots. Although these experiences varied from person to person, many agreed they weren't scary but intensely spiritual. Some described these sensations as a comforting energy, as if they were witnessing something sacred. For certain crew members, these experiences underscored the idea that they were part of something greater than a mere film production. When you combine these mysterious events with the physical and emotional challenges the cast faced, it created a truly unique atmosphere. Each day on the set was charged with a special meaning, a constant reminder of the powerful message they were trying to share with the world. The emotional and spiritual impact of filming The Passion of the Christ extended well beyond the physical and technical difficulties. It also left deep impressions on the hearts and minds of the cast. Every actor experienced something unique that tied the film's message to their own lives in personal and sometimes unexpected ways. One of the most moving and challenging moments for Maya Morgenstern was filming the scene in which Mary holds Jesus' lifeless body. The emotional intensity was so overwhelming that Maya said she felt a deep pain for hours after shooting. In her own words, she experienced in that instant a direct link with all mothers who have lost a child. It was a moment of complete understanding of the pain Mary must have felt witnessing her son's sacrifice, a grief that resonated profoundly in the actress's soul. This experience not only enriched her performance, but also marked a turning point in her personal life, leading her to reflect on love and loss from a more spiritual viewpoint. On the other hand, Claudia Gerini, who played Claudia Procula, Pontius Pilate's wife, also went through experiences that transcended the screen. During filming, she began having recurring dreams about parts of Jesus' life that weren't in the script. These dreams didn't just move her emotionally, they made her question deep aspects of her faith and her purpose. For Gerini, these dreams felt like spiritual messages speaking directly to her heart, prompting her to rethink her own spiritual connection. When the project ended, she shared that being part of the film wasn't merely a professional challenge, but rather a life-changing experience, one that brought together her work and her faith in ways she had never felt before. These personal experiences left an unerasable impression on the cast. They weren't just portraying the events of Jesus' life and death. They were also living out a profound spiritual bond with the values and sacrifices the film aimed to convey. For many, participating in this project was more than acting. It was a chance to explore their own faith and share a message that crosses cultural and religious boundaries. The success of The Passion of the Christ would not have been possible without the firm and visionary leadership of Mel Gibson, who not only directed the film, but became its heart and soul. From the start, Gibson displayed a dedication and eye for detail seldom seen in Hollywood. His insistence on total authenticity led him to demand that every detail of the production be both historically accurate and spiritually significant. From the use of Aramaic, Latin, and Hebrew in the script to the sets that faithfully recreated first-century Jerusalem, everything had to reflect the actual era in which Jesus lived. Although he received initial criticism from major studios who deemed the project too controversial and risky, Gibson remained unshaken in his choice to finance the film with his own funds. This was a bold demonstration of faith and resolve that inspired everyone working with him. He knew the project wouldn't be simple, but he was prepared to make any sacrifice needed to fulfill his vision, a stance that boosted the team's confidence that they were creating something rare and meaningful. Yet Gibson's true strength as a leader came not just from his perfectionism, but also from his genuine compassion for the people he worked with. During long, exhausting nights of shooting, he showed real concern for his team's well-being. On one especially tough occasion, when filming under pouring rain, he halted production to ensure that all the extras were warm and comfortable. He handed out hot tea, proving that even though the demands of the project were immense, caring about each other's needs always took priority. This gesture not only lifted everyone's spirits, but also reinforced the idea that they were all working together on something much bigger than just a film. Mel Gibson's leadership taught a powerful lesson. Combining perfectionism, empathy, and faith can build a strong, committed team. His ability to balance his unbreakable artistic vision with sincere concern for others set the film apart and supported the deeper meaning behind his work. He didn't merely direct a movie, he led a mission that touched everyone involved on a spiritual level.
What do you think it's going to do to your career? And if it did blow it out of the water?
Right. This is what I feel. I believe I was called to play this role. I always felt in my heart, I didn't know if I was the right guy. Maybe he doesn't always choose the best, but he chose me, and I had an opportunity to say yes. And so I said yes. And so when I look out to all my fellow Americans and people in the world, I say to them, I want you to go out into this public and shamelessly express your faith in public. And that's what I've done here. And I can let it rest as it is. I don't know where it's going, but if it doesn't turn out in where I'm continually working, I'm still an actor. I'll always be one, regardless if I get another job or not. But I fulfilled my mission right now. I felt what I was supposed to do right now. That was my opportunity, and I would have done it again.
In a similar way, playing Jesus in The Passion of the Christ was not an easy choice for Jim Caviezel. From the outset, Mel Gibson warned him about the possible repercussions this role might bring to his Hollywood career. This could ruin your future in the industry, Gibson told him, pointing out that the film's deeply spiritual and controversial content could alienate many in the movie world. Nevertheless, Caviezel didn't hesitate and firmly accepted, responding, "I think we need to do it, even if it's hard." These words show the depth of his commitment to both the film and his faith. Caviezel didn't just act out Jesus' sacrifice, he experienced it in a very real and tangible way while filming. He went through multiple physical injuries, including a dislocated shoulder, permanent scars from a whipping accident, and that lightning strike during an outdoor scene. On top of these physical trials, he also faced criticism and isolation in the film industry after the movie's release. Many producers and directors began to see him as a controversial figure, in part because of his involvement in a project that carried such strong religious themes. These setbacks limited his opportunities in Hollywood. However, Caviezel never regretted his decision. To him, the role of Jesus was more than just an acting job. It was an act of faith and personal sacrifice. Every wound, every criticism, and every challenge was, in his own words, a reflection of the spiritual mission behind the film. If this brings anyone closer to faith or to Christ's sacrifice, then it was worth it, he said in later interviews. Jim Caviezel's story prompts a deep question. What are we willing to sacrifice for our beliefs? In a world that often prioritizes comfort and acceptance, Caviezel chose the harder road, placing his faith and convictions above his own comfort and career. His experience compels us to think about how we deal with challenges and sacrifices in our own lives, and how our choices can impact both ourselves and those around us. Another unforgettable moment during the filming of The Passion of the Christ happened while shooting a scene on a hillside. Until then, the weather had been calm with clear skies, which made it easy to film outdoors. But all of a sudden, without warning, the weather changed dramatically. A fierce windstorm seemed to come from nowhere, violently shaking the production tents and creating sudden chaos on set. As the crew tried to secure the technical equipment and protect the filming area, a lightning bolt struck close to where the actors and crew were working. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the moment left a lasting impact on everyone present. What amazed everyone the most wasn't just the power of the windstorm or the lightning strike, but the context in which it happened. They were shooting a very meaningful scene that represented the sacrifice and divinity of Jesus. Many on the crew interpreted that sudden weather shift as more than mere coincidence. Some called it a divine sign, a physical reminder of the spiritual intensity of the scene they were portraying. It was as if nature itself was taking part in the film's story, reinforcing its importance. In the Bible, natural phenomena are often seen as manifestations of God's power and presence, from the strong wind in Moses' story to the earthquakes during Jesus' crucifixion. Many on set viewed the windstorm and lightning as a symbolic way of indicating that God was present, watching, and maybe even giving his approval. This experience left everyone with a sense of awe and reverence, reminding them they were working on something much bigger than themselves. While it initially caused fear and confusion, it ultimately strengthened the faith and spiritual bond of those who witnessed it. It was as if each trial or unexplained event reminded them of the purpose behind the film and the mission to share its message of sacrifice, love, and redemption. Among the numerous unexplained incidents that took place during the filming of The Passion of the Christ, one of the most fascinating was the testimony of several extras who claimed to have seen a figure dressed in light-colored robes walking among them during a large crowd scene. The shooting of that particular moment required dozens of people, all coordinated to create a chaotic and emotional atmosphere. Yet something out of the ordinary caught the attention of multiple witnesses. A figure moving calmly through the crowd, standing out because of its serene and almost glowing appearance. When the extras asked the production team about who this individual was, no one had an answer. Despite efforts to identify the person among the actors or the production staff, nobody matched the description. It was as if this figure had simply appeared and then vanished without a trace. The incident made many reflect on what they had seen, feeling both awe and wonder. For many of the extras, this wasn't just a coincidence or a trick of the eye. Some interpreted the appearance as a heavenly sign, a visual reminder of the sacred and transcendent nature of the project they were working on. The Bible includes numerous accounts of angels and messengers from God appearing at crucial moments to guide or to remind people of his presence. According to the witnesses, this event had an air of peace and spirituality that supported this interpretation. The impact of this testimony wasn't just limited to the extras, it was felt by the entire team. Many started to believe the production wasn't just any movie, but a work that had somehow been guided and blessed. This strengthened the faith of those involved, leaving a sense of humility and purpose among everyone on set. The mysterious encounter became one of the most talked about stories of the shoot. Another example of how the Passion of the Christ broke through the boundaries of typical movie making to touch the hearts and spiritual lives of those who participated. From the start of filming the Passion of the Christ, there was a shared feeling among the cast and the crew that this project went far beyond a typical film. As filming continued and they faced physical, emotional, and unexplained challenges, that feeling grew into a firm conviction. They were part of something deeply spiritual and transformative. Actors, technicians, and even the extras began to express how this production connected them not just to the story they were telling, but also to their personal faith and to something greater than themselves. Many described the shoot as a once-in-a-lifetime experience, a process where everyone felt a kind of shared energy, as if each action, each scene, and each effort were part of a divine purpose. Every look, every word exchanged among the team carried an emotional intensity that went beyond what people usually feel while working on a film. Jim Caviezel's physical suffering, the supernatural events, the heartbreaking emotional weight of the more dramatic scenes, and even the spontaneous prayers during difficult moments all helped create a unique environment. They were not just a bunch of professionals working together. They were a community united by the goal of delivering a message that could resonate in the hearts of millions. This collective emotional unity makes us think about how God can manifest himself even in the most human of projects. What began as a purely cinematic endeavor became a spiritual journey for many involved, reminding them that art connected to faith can be a powerful tool to inspire and transform lives. This intense emotional bond left a permanent mark on everyone who participated, not just affecting their careers or personal lives, but also becoming part of the passion of the Christ's lasting legacy. The message of sacrifice, redemption, and faith was not simply portrayed on film, it was experienced every single day of shooting. It was a reminder that even in our most ordinary or human tasks, there is room for the divine. When The Passion of the Christ premiered in 2004, it was far more than just a film release. It was a cultural and spiritual phenomenon that left a permanent mark on millions of people worldwide. Even so, it wasn't without its share of controversies, criticisms, and deep reflections that affected both audiences and the people involved in making it. From the outset, the film sparked mixed opinions. On one side, it was heavily criticized for what some considered excessive on-screen violence. There were also accusations of anti-Semitism, leading to fierce debates in academic, religious, and social circles. Many critics questioned whether the movie was a genuine depiction of Christ's message of love and sacrifice, or simply a brutal reenactment of his final moments. Despite these disagreements, the film was praised for its faithfulness to biblical accounts and its bravery in showing Jesus' suffering in such a raw, powerful way. Religious leaders from various denominations recognized its ability to convey Christ's sacrifice with an emotional intensity rarely matched by other productions. In religious communities, The Passion of the Christ stirred profound questions. Was this depiction an invitation to reflect on redemption, or was it too graphic for some audiences? Criticisms aside, the film's emotional impact was clear. It moved viewers to tears, to introspection, and even to prayer. Its effect wasn't just seen in the public. Jim Caviezel, the actor who played Jesus, faced personal and professional consequences after the premiere. His career in Hollywood was impacted, with many studios viewing him as too controversial because of his connection to a film of such intense religious content. Caviezel accepted these outcomes with calm, stating that his involvement in The Passion of the Christ was an act of service and faith. For him, playing Jesus not only changed his professional life, it deepened his spiritual one, reinforcing his dedication to his beliefs. Financially, The Passion of the Christ was a huge success, earning over $600 million worldwide on a budget of just $30 million. But the most striking part was how a significant portion of those earnings went to charitable causes. Mel Gibson used the profits to fund community projects like building schools and hospitals in impoverished regions across the globe, an act that echoed the film's central theme of love and sacrifice, and that also made a real difference in the lives of many people. The cultural and spiritual influence of The Passion of the Christ did not end with its release. Its success opened doors for other productions that dared to explore religious stories with depth and realism, inspiring filmmakers to tackle themes previously seen as too risky or controversial. But beyond the cinema world, the movie sparked worldwide discussions about faith, spirituality, and sacrifice in homes, churches, and universities around the globe. The Passion of the Christ became a starting point for conversations about Jesus' sacrifice and how it matters to modern audiences. The film didn't just change the landscape of religious cinema, it also touched the hearts of countless viewers, reminding us that the message of redemption and love goes beyond generations and cultures. More than simply a film, The Passion of the Christ remains a spiritual experience for anyone open to embracing its message. The challenges faced by the team behind The Passion of the Christ didn't just test their dedication, they also served as a powerful reminder of the trials we often face in our day-to-day Christian walk. Just like the cast and crew, we frequently come across obstacles that seem impossible to overcome. But as this story shows, God can use those difficulties to carry out His plan and shape us along the way. The accidents, the intense emotions, and the unexplained phenomena on set didn't just add weight to the film. They also became a living testimony of how, even in the middle of adversity, God can work to remind us of His presence and His purpose. Thank you so much for watching this video. We want to hear your thoughts. Do you think these events were merely coincidences, or were they divine signs? How do you interpret the spiritual impact of a movie like this? Feel free to leave your opinions in the comments.